Hey, Happy New Year. Happy birthday, um, to my cousin Cameron. How you doing, cuz? Happy day, brother. That's really the only thing that New Year's really matters to me about, you know? It's just another day. It's just like all these other holidays that we get all bent out of shape and wound up about. It's always just a relief when it's all finally fucking done. You know what I mean? So here we are. Welcome to 2023. I just thought about this earlier, and I thought, you know what? This year on my birthday, it's going to read 032323. That's kind of cool. That's my baseball number, the date of my birth, the number of like my favorite athlete growing up was, Michael Jordan. And I had every Michael Jordan poster and card and this and that you can think of. I got a bunch of them sitting right next to me here. Actually, I'm going through all my old shit, thinking about what I want to get rid of and sell and stuff, all that old stuff that's, I don't even know if cards are worth anything. Gary Vee seems to think so. Anyway, I've been sitting here tonight, and, it's not that big of a, the whole night. New Year's Eve, what am I going to do? Go out and fucking run around with the spuds? Go out for amateur night? Go out and get all corned up on Fireball and Goldschlager? No. I've been sitting here looking into this whole thing with, I'm going to pull up a picture here. This cat. Have we seen this guy? Okay, this is the guy. This is the Idaho vegan serial killer, all right? That's the guy. All right? Now, I don't know what to make of this. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm saying that there's a lot of phony, there's some weird stuff. I'm not going to say phony because I'm not part of the case, anything like that. I'm just on the outside looking in. However, having had my experiences with the system, I have a little insight into the way things go. Probably more so than most. Here's the thing too, and I don't understand how this guy is, how the feds aren't involved. Because now that they've realized this dude was in Pullman, right? Okay, so for those who don't know, and I'm sure you all do know, because, come on, if you haven't been paying attention to this, then, and maybe you don't. Maybe you're a prime candidate for the jury on this case, because they're going to have a hell of a time finding an unbiased jury, because everybody knows about this guy. That guy is Brian Christopher Koberger, okay? This dude was arrested in Pennsylvania. He happens to have a white Hyundai Elantra. From what I understand, his is a 2015. The white Hyundai Elantra was a vehicle in question regarding the tragic murders of these 4 students in Moscow on October 13th between 3 and 4 a.m. is what they're estimating. Grisly, horrible murders done with a knife, a lot of blood, and the work of a psychopath, as far as I'm concerned, from what I see. Now, I've had my opinion on the whole thing, and a few of the things that I said, if this is the guy, turned out to be right. I said it was a white dude. I said he was older than, he wasn't college age, he was older, and chances are that he lived close by, but not in Moscow. My estimate was that he lived in Pullman, which there he was. Now, there's just a lot of stuff here to unpack. This is a crazy case, and like I said, I'm not saying the guy is guilty or he's not guilty, because that's how this system is supposed to work. You are innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, in this country, the way it works anymore is that you are guilty until proven innocent. This dude's life is ruined whichever way this happens to go. I'm just saying, that's fact, okay? Because if somehow he gets acquitted, exonerated, he's still screwed. he's done with what he's doing. Okay, he moved to Pullman, Washington. I think it was in August of 22. Literally like 10 weeks ago, like not that long ago. And he is a teacher's assistant in 3 undergraduate classes, and he's going to school to get his doctorate in criminal justice. May of last year, he graduated from DeSales University with a master's in criminal justice and criminology. And then he decided to go to Washington State in Pullman, all the way from Pennsylvania. I don't quite get the move. I don't understand it, but I also understand that, hey, you know what? Maybe it was an offer he couldn't resist. You know, sometimes people just want to go different places. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about him except for what I'm seeing. And you can't believe much of it. The facts that I do see that they're putting out there, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And maybe that's why it happened, because sometimes the truth is way stranger than fiction. And this could be one of those instances. I don't know. But it seems kind of crazy, right? Okay, let's just start. Let's see if I can start as close to the beginning of this as I can put it together. Let me move this mic over here. Okay. The news is coming out, and they've got this guy labeled. He's got an aunt. And now that his parents are divorced, it's kind of like I don't even know what you, an aunt once removed or whatever. I don't know. Something like that. But, you know, she told the media, well, he had really strange eating habits. He was very OCD about it. Well, the guy's a vegan. And he wouldn't eat out of any pots or pans that had cooked meat. Okay, that's a little OCD, but hey, all you vegans out there, y'all are a little OCD about the shit. You know what I'm saying? That's par for the course. You know, you got a couple different kinds of vegans. You got the vegans that just go about their business. They don't grandstand it. They don't say nothing. But then you got the vegans where, like, you go out to eat with them, and it's just like, oh, fuck. Here we fucking go. You know, they're beating up the service people at the restaurant. You know, they're making sure everybody in the restaurant can hear that they're a vegan. They show their disdain for all the meat items on the menu. You know, so you got the 2 different kinds. This guy was obviously pretty stringent about what he was doing. Now, believe it or not, I went 2 years as a vegetarian, and that's not a vegan, you know. I mean, at least I still got eggs, cheese, and dairy products and shit like that, you know, even though I'm not the biggest milk fan now, because from then to now, I've kind of, I don't know. I think milk is weird. I think we're the only species that drinks another species' milk, and I think that's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of different, but, you know, it is what it is. You like milk? Good. Have some Nesquik. Get the strawberry kind. Or mix it up, make a Neapolitan. I don't give a fuck. So, the guy's a vegan, okay? He's scrawny. You saw the picture, right? I mean, this is one's a younger picture, one's more recent, and then you've all seen the mugshot. Now, everybody says on the mugshot that he looks cold and, you know, that he's got like the killer eyes. Maybe so. That could be. But I also see somebody that's very fucking frustrated. This is a dude who knows the criminal justice system. This is what this guy is going to school for. He's working on a doctorate. He hasn't done his thesis. He's not a candidate yet, but he is in school to get his doctorate. He's teaching 3 undergraduate classes in criminal justice, which I guess maybe that makes him the perfect serial killer right there. He knows the system, and maybe it does. From what they say, he's had a rough time with the ladies over his life, and that he got bullied by a lot of females. I don't know that to be fact. This is all alleged. This is just stuff that I'm picking up via the interwebs, news agencies, different sources. I try to only cite from people, you know, repeat things from people that I trust. I don't trust any of this about the whole thing. I don't trust a bit of it. I don't trust what law enforcement's saying. I don't trust what the news media is saying. I feel for the families. Because when I look at the pictures of these kids, I see 4 kids that were just like me when I was in college. They're having a good time. They're talking about, it's a party house. Well, we all lived in party houses in college. That's what college is for a lot of people. I mean, that's what it is. So, saying that there's people in and out of the house, that makes me wonder why those doors weren't locked. Or if they were in fact locked. But if in fact that dude this is a skinny little guy, comes in wielding a fixed blade knife. Now, I don't know if it had, whatever you might call it, like I call this my Tennessee toothpick, right? Now, it's got a little finger guard on it, but I guarantee you, I can tell you right now, if I were to inflict that kind of thing on somebody like this guy did, I would have my hands cut up. And he would have been covered in blood, okay? This dude would have been covered in blood. From what I read, the victims all had a signature, center of the chest, stab wound. The young man, from what I understand, was not in the bed, but he was on the floor. My guess is that he jumped up and tried to defend himself and his lady, and he'd been out drinking, was asleep, just came out of his stupor, and whoever it was that came in, whether it was Kohlberger or somebody else, I don't know, it remains to be seen. Whoever it was got him. And I find it really hard to believe that this skinny little vegan guy that's been picked on his whole life, now people were saying, well, now he became the bully. And from what I understand, it's because he then they said he got into boxing. Well, if you've been bullied your whole life, if you've been little, and people have picked on you, and you're an adult man, and let's say, okay, these are all hypotheticals, and I'm not saying one way or another, but I don't like seeing the entire country just automatically believing that this guy did it. Now, I can understand why the family wants to think that, and why the community wants to think that. People want some kind of closure. But it doesn't bring these kids back. Nothing will ever bring them back. And certainly being hasty in charging somebody, and he could be totally guilty. He could have, but the way I'm looking at it is if this is the guy, this dude had a complete and utter psychotic break. I mean, I'm talking a terrifying break. Because he's a vegan. This is a vegan dude that won't eat he won't eat a cooked meal out of a pot or a pan that's had meat cooked in it. And he's going to go in and brutally murder 4 college kids with a knife? Where's the bloody clothes? They set up a whole forensic unit at his apartment. They talked to his neighbors. Nobody'd ever had an issue with him. They said he was just kind of a loner. And that's what they always say about the killer. They're loners. Well, guess what? I'm a fucking loner too. I ain't no fucking serial killer. I don't need anybody around. I'm fine with being by myself. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't make you one thing or another. And having OCD eating habits when you're a fucking vegan, that's kind of what it's about. They don't eat cheese. They don't eat any product that comes from an animal. So you're talking about, these people, and I can see where they get a little testy. They got to be hungry all the goddamn time. And a skinny dude like that, he should have been having some protein in it. But who knows what his reasoning is? I'm not to say. I'm not to judge. And I'm not this dude. But it's just kind of weird, They bring up the Hyundai Elantra. They say white Hyundai Elantra, 2010 to 2013. Okay, the one that they found in Pennsylvania at his family's house, wherever he's staying, is a 2015. Okay, so that leads me to believe, if they didn't get the year right, that they didn't have a license plate. I don't know if they did or they didn't. I don't believe they did. That dude, if they did have a license plate, there would have been a nationwide APB out on that car, and any cop, any highway patrol out there would have been looking at that car. So why would he have driven it? all the way from Idaho to Pennsylvania. I mean, he's out there on the border of Idaho and Washington. There's places to get rid of a vehicle. So this happened on the 13th, and their school got out on December 9th. So allegedly, if the law enforcement, if their case is right, this dude, this skinny vegan, criminal justice, potential doctoral candidate that teaches or is a teacher's assistant in 3 undergraduate criminal justice classes, in cold blood, murders 4 college students that are quite a bit younger than him. He had 2 of them were 20, and I think 2 were 21. He's 28. He just moved to Pullman 10 weeks prior from Pennsylvania, where he had graduated with his master's degree in May of 22 from DeSales University, where he also got his bachelor's. So he shows up in Pullman. He's living in it's not a dorm, but it's like off-campus student housing. It's what I'm seeing. So he's got a ton of neighbors. He's in an apartment complex. I'm sure he doesn't have a garage. Those don't typically have garages. So the car's sitting outside. So he is that much of a psychopath that he just thinks that he got away with it, and he's going to park there with that car. And if he's off campus, he's probably driving the car to and from his classes and whatever else he's doing on campus. I'm guessing he wasn't at the football game the night of these murders, because he doesn't seem like, the sports type of dude. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I believe Washington State was playing the Vandals that night in Moscow. So if he pulls this murder off on the 13th, and he sits there in his apartment, and he goes through the rest of his semester, and he finishes up whatever classes he's taking, and he finishes up the classes that he's working as a teacher's assistant in on the 9th, and he drives all the way back home to Pennsylvania in the Elantra. On December 7th, 2 days prior to when he would have left, they made the announcement that the Elantra was a vehicle of interest. Now, either this guy is a complete, total psychopath to get behind the wheel of that car and drive it anywhere at that point. On the 7th, that car, if that's me, that car is gone. There's got to be blood everywhere in that thing. Where did his clothes go? Was he wearing a fucking Tyvek suit? Even then, you stab people violently like that, and depending on the knife, if that thing had like a hilt on it, or, a handguard or whatever, maybe he didn't cut himself, but I don't see how he didn't. And blood, there's no way that it wouldn't have been all over. He leaves out of that house, and he gets in that car and drives off. Now, why would that car be parked out front in the first place? There's absolutely no reason. There's a dirt parking lot behind the house. I've looked at it all on the maps and everything, the satellite maps. There's a lot of there's another road back behind there. There's wooded areas. They said that the guy also ran a lot, like that he was a runner, that he ran like 6 to 8 miles every night. Maybe he ran all the way with a big ass knife from Pullman, and then what? Had a full on Tyvek suit, face mask, and everything. This has got to be. I haven't seen anything from the inside. There were photos that looked as though there was blood running down the outside of the foundation walls of the home. And they said that was the room where they found Xana and the young man, Mr. Chapin. So he could have been, and they said he was face down on the ground. So it looks like he got up and he was trying to fight. And I can't even imagine the end for that poor girl. Any of them. And I can't envision a vegan as arrogant and as obnoxious as some of the vegans can be if they fall under category B. They still won't eat meat. I cannot see how somebody who's vegan could do this. Now, they said that Adam Lanza, that was the Sandy Hook shooter, there's speculation that he was a vegan, but it's unsubstantiated. And he had the burgers and all sorts of other problems. I don't. That's neither here nor there. I was just looking up to see earlier if there was any other cases of a vegan serial killer, and I couldn't find any. So that, to me, that's my first, like, that's the first, like, first warning light, right? The first idiot light on the dash starts blinking with that one, okay? And then there was some girl on TikTok that said the guy's a heroin addict. Well, he's doing pretty good for a heroin addict if he's going to school to get a doctorate and he's teaching 3 undergrad classes. I've known heroin addicts and they don't do that shit. You know what I mean? And they don't run 6 to 8 miles a day and usually aren't involved in serial killings. Now, they say that he put out a Reddit about some sort of study, and he was asking for anybody who had committed a crime. He was trying to see, like, what emotionally, mentally, what was going through their mind, making decisions, like, after, committing a crime. Okay. I'm not sure what the date was. Was it after he had graduated? Was it, had he already decided he was going to Pullman at the time? Those are details they're leaving out that I can't find. If he hadn't decided that he was going to Pullman for a doctorate and he put that Reddit out there and he had graduated, then that's kind of weird. But he also just got a master's degree in criminal justice. Now, I guess that would be the perfect thing for a serial killer to do. It doesn't seem that there's any bodies anywhere near where he's been, anywhere where there would be any suspicion about this guy. So he goes to school in Pullman in August of 2022. I mean, like I said, he does have a white Elantra, but they said the Elantra was a 2010 to a 2013 now. You would think that law enforcement would know. If they've got a picture of the vehicle, they can run it. They should be able to tell. We have, in this country, we have cameras everywhere, on the highways, intersections, all over the place. This is a more populated place than where I live, and we got cameras all over the place. Why is there only the one instance of this vehicle being spotted? And how would he have been able to just go 10 miles away and park there with that thing? Okay, so if the Elantra was his and he's there, so that would rule out the running, right? That would rule out the running, okay? If the Elantra is his, he drove the car there. First of all, why does he park out on the street? He's right across from Fraternity Row. It's a, the hustle, it doesn't end at night on a college campus. There's kids outside all hours of the night. That's just, you're that age, you can be, kids stay out, party all night and go get breakfast in the morning and go fall asleep. So, if you're really thinking this out in his mind, I'm just putting myself inside what the mindset would be if that were something I was inclined to do, which it's not or ever has been, but this is just crazy. Why would you park out? Why would you have that vehicle in front of the house if in fact you drove it over there to kill these people? If you had 10 weeks to make this plan, and you're going to school to get a doctorate, and you're a teacher's assistant, or you're teaching 3 undergrad classes. That's a pretty heavy load. Where do you have time to plan something like this? Was it murder one? Was it premeditated, or was this just something that he thought was an opportunity? And the guy's only had one run-in with law enforcement. He had one citation for not wearing a seatbelt, which he did get in Moscow. He got it in the same county, Lata County. But that's a seatbelt ticket is hardly. I don't know. Sure, there's serial killers out there that have never had any contact with the law. No one knows who they are, certainly. But to have the aunt say something about his OCD eating habits, and then it's all over the news. Everybody, oh, he had OCD eating habits. Did you hear? Well, how many females out there have OCD eating habits? Jesus Christ. I mean, half of them I know do. I mean, it's not an unusual thing for people to have weird relationships with their food and the way they eat. It's a weird thing, and people have that. It's just something that, I mean, it doesn't mean a thing. I mean, it does, but it doesn't mean somebody's a goddamn serial killer. And especially being a vegan and then to pull off a fucking crime like this, I don't know. They better hope they got it right. And the thing is with this kid, he's not going to get a fair trial anyways. He's gonna waive extradition. He's going to try and draw it out as long as possible. I don't know what he's got for an attorney, but the guy knows the law, okay? He's got a fucking master's in criminal justice. He knows the system. The last thing he wants to do is end up back in Idaho for trial. Now, he crossed state lines, if it was him, in fact. So who's to say? This could end up going fed. If it goes fed, he's done, regardless, guilt, innocent, doesn't matter. He's done. It doesn't matter. He's over, because the Fed doesn't lose. They've got a 99 point whatever percent conviction rate. Unless you're Plaxico Burress or that whatever his name is, Gilbert, the basketball player for the Wizards that got caught with the gun, Gilbert Arenas. Then you just go to a halfway house for a couple months, where you probably don't even have to stay. God, I got stupid stuff. Hate that dust. Anyways, I'm OCD, right? So the whole thing doesn't make any sense, right? So this kid, he drives back to Pennsylvania, where he's staying with his family, and the white Elantra is there. Now, whatever law enforcement agency is working on this in Scranton, I guess. I think it was a smaller, I don't know. They said Scranton, but I think it was a different community. I don't know the names. Pennsylvania's got weird names for shit. They've got him staked out for a couple days. So I was telling somebody, I was like, "You think you're fucking slick?" I was like, "If they're watching you, dude," I said, "This dude got a master's in CJ, and he didn't know they were looking at him. They raided the house at 3 a.m., jammed him up. You know, in his picture, he's got the padded party suit vest on, so they've got him on suicide watch. But if he was going to off himself, he probably wouldn't have gone home for Christmas. And you know that his family's watching this shit. And you know that he knows, because he's a criminal justice major, because he's got a master's in it and he's getting a doctorate, you know that he knows the case. You know, if he did it, he's been watching. If he didn't do it, he's been watching. You know that he knows that they announced that they were looking for the white Elantra, and he drives that fucking thing to Pennsylvania. I mean, this dude's either seriously, like, gone. Like, I don't have him pegged as being a straight dumbass like that. I mean, this is what he studies. This is what he's gone to school for. This is what he's dedicated his life to doing. He knows the way the system works. He knows what people are looking for. He's had criminal psychology classes and the whole gamut. He's going to get in that car. If he thinks that, or if he's done that, he's going to get in that car and think that it's a good idea to drive all the way to Pennsylvania in the middle of the winter. I mean, you know the possibilities of bad shit happening. I mean, there's a lot of interstate out there across a lot of desolate states. I mean, you can get in a bad mess out there. There's a lot of things that don't add up. There's a lot of shit that doesn't add up about this. And maybe he did. I don't know. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just saying, looking at it from the outside in, and the knowledge that I have about the system and the way things work, and there's just a lot that doesn't make any sense. You know? There's people that said, oh, he made females feel uncomfortable and then he was socially awkward. So what? There's a lot of people that are socially awkward. Like I said, I'm not taking the guy's side, but I'm damn sure not putting him on the chopping block like the whole country is. Everybody in this country is just, I mean, everything you watch. Oh, they found him. They found the guy. How do you know? I mean, they had to find somebody. They were under the gun. Those police officers in Moscow, they're not fucking cut out for this shit. They've never. I mean, what police department deals with any kind of shit like this unless you're in a big ass city, and even then, something like this is out of hand. But I mean, in a city, you've got detectives and cops that know how to better. You know, I'm not slighting these police officers or their department or anything like that. I'm just saying that for a small police department and a small kind of, I mean, yeah, it's the University of Idaho, big deal. There's not a lot of people there. It's still pretty small compared to the rest of the world. You know, these guys dealt with probably, you know, fraternity fucking boys, you know, football parties. I don't think they have a baseball team. They got a basketball. They probably had sports parties, sororities, fraternity parties. Probably had a few bar hot spots. You know, they probably dealt with disorderly conducts, you know, vandalism. Maybe some car break-ins, some fist fights, shit like that. You know, your typical college town bullshit. Just, you know, rowdy kids being drunk and stupid and, you know, writing out misdemeanor tickets and seeing them in court or whatever, you know. I mean, they're not dealing with shit like this. You know, in Moscow, it's not really, it's kind of off the beaten path, too. I mean, you've got Pullman close by, but Pullman's off the beaten path, too. They're both pretty small places. For being, you know, two of the bigger, you know, they're bigger universities, no doubt about it, but they're not huge. But these guys weren't, you know, they were not expecting something like this. And for that guy to be parked over there in Pullman, you know, the Pullman police had, you know, they got the information about the white Elantra. I mean, as soon as they've heard that, they you know that every single officer, every highway patrolman, everybody, other law enforcement out there, because you can't tell me that there wasn't other law enforcement out there. There had to have been FBI and, you know, DCI and God knows what other branches of law enforcement. So on the 7th, when that information came out about the Elantra, they had to have been looking for a white Elantra. And if it's that easily confused, I don't know the difference between a 2013 and a 2015, but why would they say it was a 2010 to a 2013 and it turns out to be not even the right year? There had to have been blood all over that car. They towed it. What did they find? They're not saying anything. They're not releasing any information. So, I mean, you'd think if they found, I mean, I don't see how he took that vehicle there if this is the guy that did it, and how he got in that vehicle and drove back to Pullman and then left that vehicle parked for almost a month. Well, it was a month and a half. Because if he left on the, you know, if he left on the 9th, he probably left on the 10th. He probably finished up his classes, probably left the next morning. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't have his travel itinerary, but I know the rough, you know, 9th or 10th probably. I mean, he was obligated to stay, you know, to the end of those classes that he was teaching and the ones he was taking. And so he had that vehicle parked there for a month and a half. Now, I don't know the situation. Maybe he had a carport. Maybe he didn't have a carport. Maybe he had a little garage. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But that car had to be full of blood. Even if he was wearing a straight up full on Tyvek suit and premeditated this thing and had himself completely wrapped up, how does he get out of there without it, without having blood all over him? Maybe they found blood in the car. They said that the DNA matched that they found on the scene. I don't know how they did that. They screw up DNA all the time. I'm not saying that they did. But trust me, every year that I was in federal and we had to get our DNA taken, I made sure instead, I stood there and made sure that they were taking my swab and putting it right in the correct vial because, you know, there's dudes that have done decades under bad DNA tests. Decades. So, in a bloody mess like that had to have been in there. I mean, hey, modern forensics is it's, you know, some technical impressive shit that they can do. So, you know, I'm not saying one way or another, but there's just there's some discrepancies. There's some real, it just seems like a lot of really weird things here involved in this. The dude does have a weird look on his face in his mugshot, but He just got woke up at 3. I mean, nobody takes a good mugshot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're at your worst. And they always do that. Oh, look at him. It's like, hey, man, this cat, maybe he was awake, maybe he wasn't. I don't know how he slept at night if he did this. If the dude is a staunch vegan and he pulled this off, I don't know how he slept at all. Because if you can't even eat meat, if you can't even eat out of a pan that's cooked meat, like they said in Vegas, he went out there for some kind of family thing, and he made the family he was staying with said that if he was going to eat there, that they had to go out and get new cookware. So that means the dude, he won't eat at a restaurant unless it's a vegan restaurant. How many of those are around? I guess they're around, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a pretty crazy thing. But I'll pull up a picture of this guy here if I can find one. See if I can spell his name right. And you saw the pictures that I put up earlier. But we'll pull up I'm trying to see if I can find the mugshot of him. There we go. See if it'll come up. All right. And this is coming out of, where's this out of? Our Community Now. I don't know who this is from. Hopefully I don't get any kind of problem with this. This is news, so it should be fair use. Let me just pull up the monitor here. Oh, come on. There we go. There's our guy. Who's to say? I don't know. He looks like he's got that's a green padded party room vest. So they got him in the padded party room. It's a weird mugshot. I mean, look at the marks behind him. There's not even he's not even up against a height board. Usually, you can see they've got marks on the wall. This is kind of a weird deal. And look at that door. That door is all kinds of jacked up. I wonder if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Look at that door. That door doesn't look like it's even had paint. Look at that door jamb. And then there's hash. This is like what you measure a little kid with on like a door jamb in your house. This is where how can you can't even tell this is a mugshot? You can't tell how tall the dude, that door is 7 feet tall, but he ain't 7 feet tall. This is a little dude. What kind of mugshot is this? See, this is what I'm saying. Everything about this is goofy. This is goofy as hell. I've never, even in a little podunk place, you got a place where you can take mugshots of somebody and you got them standing with their back against the wall. The camera is right on level so you can see their height, and the height is next to their head. So even if you do have an angle, you can still see the hash marks, and it's broken down in inches. You could say this guy, it's hard to say from that angle. This is a weird deal here. This is not. We're in Monroe County, in Chestnut Hill Township. I don't even know anything about it. I haven't looked into where he was at. I've never seen a mugshot like that before. That's weird. It's just like they had, I don't know. I'm just speculating. None of what I'm saying is fact, fiction, or anywhere in between. It's just my observations and just, my thoughts on this. But that's weird. Because I don't care what little jail you're in. You don't get a mugshot done like that. This is bizarre. This is really bizarre. There's just too much about this that just doesn't make any goddamn sense. And maybe they know more than, they obviously think they know more than I think I know, I guess. I mean, that's their jobs, right? I mean, there's another photo of the guy. I don't know. I mean, I made that meme earlier for the show just because I was going to talk about this. Just because I've been since the day that they announced this, it's just been one of those things. I've just been like, this is just wacky. This is weird. There's just too many things that it's like, this doesn't make sense. I mean, maybe that's why it makes sense, because it doesn't make sense. Sometimes that's how shit works out. I'm just trying to scroll through here and see. I mean, there was not really any known connections. The parents of Kaylee said that they were starting to see how there could have been a connection. Now, that was what I was wondering, is like, was one of the, I don't know what those girls were majoring in, but was one of them taking a class at Pullman? Because that's not unusual to take, a class at a different college nearby. I mean, I did that at a community college. I took some art classes when I was going to school in Reno, and, they didn't have what I wanted available at University of Nevada, so I was going up to whatever it was, Truckee Community College, and taking an art class once a week. So that's not unusual. The guy could have had one of his classes at the University of Idaho, for all we know. He's only 10 miles away. That's not unusual. Maybe the DNA, I don't know. This is all speculation, but there's maybe they're right on the money with this, but I don't see the connection. The dude had been there for 10 weeks. He did not have time, unless, like I said, this dude is a complete and absolute psychopath. And then they said, he's got into boxing. He's become, he used to get bullied by girls and they'd throw shit at him. And now he's become a bully. But from what I understood, the bullying that came from him was because he was your typical graduate student, knew everything, and he would interrupt people and talk over people and shit like that. And that's probably where he got his power, was from his knowledge. I said he was a very intelligent individual, but he didn't hesitate to let you know how intelligent he was. But he also stuck to himself, said he didn't go out. But his neighbors said that he was always nice and decent. But, that's the other thing too, is, people that are, this is just crazy. This had to have been really, if this was the dude, here's another thing here. It says he was there. I don't know. His neighbors said they'd never had any issues with him, he's a PhD student. There's a picture of him, his ID card. I don't know. It's crazy. You've got to be a psychopath to do that to somebody. These kids are younger than him. They said he was awkward around women. Hey, that's not unusual. I don't know. At first they said maybe it was an A-cell. And if you're familiar with that, that's a dude that's celibate but not by choice, and they can have animosity towards women because these are the kind of guys that end up in the friend zone. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I'm going to quit beating on it, but think about it a little bit, before you go around and say they got the guy. You got to look at this, and, you got to look at all sides of things. If he did it, I hope he gets what he deserves. But I got a feeling that regardless of whether he's guilty or not, he's going to get the same goddamn thing, because he's never going to get a fair trial. His life is ruined. He's never going to be able to go back to Washington State. That's done. That's done for him. That's over. So he's not going to get his doctorate, and he's not going to get it anywhere else, because without a name change and identity, he's going to have to go abroad. And even then, this case is known worldwide right now. He's screwed whatever way you look at it, he's going to need a shit ton of Johnny Cochrans or better attorneys than that. And they're never going to find an impartial jury. They're going to have to go find a bunch of hillbillies living in the sticks with no TV out in Arkansas or something. I don't know. So on that note, we'll leave it alone. I've beat that dead horse. On the bright side of things, folks, it's tax time now that it's the first of the year. And so the IRS is told everybody to get ready for a smaller tax return. Why is that? Because there's no stimulus checks. So that means they're going to take more money from you because they didn't give you any free money. So since we just passed through a $1.7 trillion spending bill that Congress was allowed to look at for 72 hours, that was written by 4 or 5 people in our lovely Congress, probably consisting of that fucking Mitch McConnell and Chucky Schumer boy and Nancy Pelosi, and who knows who else was behind it. I hesitate to think. 4,155 pages. They had 72 hours. I don't care how many interns you have. 72 hours, and reading that legal jargon is not. It's not like reading a Wilbur Smith book. I don't care what kind of degree you have. I mean, there's no possibility that there was anybody in Congress that knew what was in that fucking thing. $1.7 trillion. But you're going to get a smaller tax return because guess what? None of that 1.7 trillion is yours. 858 million is going to the military, and then the other 750 some odd billion, sorry, did I say million? It's 858 billion is going to defense spending, and then the rest is going to non-disclosed, other spending. And I'm sure we're spending for gender studies in, the Sudan and Sierra Leone and Pakistan, and probably buying more missiles for somebody to kill people. The Department of Defense and all these, the military-industrial complex, you might as well just consider that 858 billion just went to them. And the 1.7 trillion, guess what this is for? It was to avoid a government shutdown and keep us running for another year. Oh, and there was like another, 40 some odd billion earmarked for the guy in the green fucking sweatsuit over there whose wife was spending money frivolously shopping over here while they were visiting, Mr. Zelensky. This is not a donation. This is an investment in our democracy, except for anybody who disagrees with me. There's a raspy little voice, a little cross-dressing weirdo, comes into our house and sits there and makes demands. And guess what? That idiot mushhead of a president just sat there and let it happen. Everybody clapped for him. Oh, he brought in what did he bring a flag in? Pelosi's up there waving the flag. Jesus Christ. Dipshit's kid made millions. Joe made millions off that country, out of those corrupt fucking companies and shit. And we all sat here like fucking morons. And so we're gonna ship billions over there, but guess what? You're not gonna get as much of a tax return as you think. And get ready, because any transaction you make at your bank this year that's over $600, you're gonna have to fill out a form for, and you're gonna be audited on that, because there's 87,000 new IRS agents, and they were funded by the last $1.9 trillion that was funded. Hello, people. Who's gonna wake up here? Anybody? Bueller? Hello, McFly. Anybody home? Anybody picking up what I'm putting down? Anybody? It seems like I'm just talking to fucking walls and mirrors, and it doesn't seem like many people are really fucking paying attention to what's going on here. And good, let it all burn to the ground, because it's all fake money anyways. But the thing is there's going to be a lot of pain and suffering that goes through this thing for it to turn around. And it could be done a hell of a lot easier than what this is going to entail. And that's my concern. Is there's going to be a lot of people that are going to die. There's going to be a lot of bad shit that's going to go down. There's nothing in that fucking bill to do anything about homelessness. And he comes out and grandstands about jobs. Well, just because you let people go back to work doesn't mean you created fucking jobs, dipshit. I mean, it doesn't work that way. But he's used to it. Joe Biden is used to lying. He's used to fucking just fibbing and plagiarizing and just making shit up and being a creep. Sniffing little girls' hair, telling stories about his leg hair and little kids crawling on his legs in swimming pools. And that doesn't weird anybody out. Allegedly, 81 million of you idiots voted for him. I guess you like, fucking old men with short eyes, apparently. I mean, if anybody's got short eyes, that dude does. I mean, the diary from the daughter says that, She was scared to even get in the shower until she knew he was asleep because she was worried. She thought he'd, because he would come in there with her when she's like 11, 12 years old. That's your guy? That's your guy. I mean, I think everybody wants to say good old Joe and this and that and the other thing, and I think this dude is a lot more creepy and diabolical than you all think. You've got the story from Tara Reid. Watching her tell that story, that woman is not lying. She's not making it up. This guy did that in the wide open, in broad daylight. Put his hand up under her dress. Pretty much ruined her life. Her career, everything. Told her she didn't mean anything to him. That's what we're talking about. He's lived under the lie. He's spread this lie for years that his wife was hit by a drunk driver. That truck driver's career was ruined because of that. He wasn't drunk. His wife pulled out in front of that truck with those kids. Was she not paying attention? Was something going on with her and those kids that she just wanted to take them all out? You never know, and you never will know. But I can tell you what, the poor guy that was driving that truck that smashed into him, he's had that on his head forever. Hunter was in the car. Why did he turn into a crackhead, alcoholic, sex addict, nut? I mean, if he was so nefarious in these dealings, how come 10% went to the big guy? I think that Joe, this is my opinion, but I think the old man put him up to all this. I think that he set him up and said, here, you're going to go out and you're going to do this and you're going to pay this and that. And they shared bank accounts. No one's saying a word about that, though. And if you do, then, oh, you're just, come on, man, not good old Joe. Not old Joe. And I don't care. Whatever. These politicians are fucking corrupt. He fits just perfectly in there. But it's kind of insulting. I mean, these assholes want to do what they're going to do. That's fine. But the thing is they're affecting all of us. And it's obvious. I mean, they're not affected by this. They're laughing their way to the bank. They don't care. Pelosi does insider trading. Her husband does insider trading. He gets DUIs with all kinds of nefarious things going on behind the scenes on that. I wrote an article about that breaks it all down. I'm not going to get into it. The thing that happened with, him getting hit in the head with a hammer by that DePape, that thing stinks to high heaven. All you got to do is watch the initial press conference with that Chief Scott, and then watch the retractions and the redactions that he had to make like 2 mornings later, and look at the way that DA, that prosecuting attorney, look at her body language. That dude was not happy that he had to come in there and make those retractions. She was nervous as hell about the whole thing, and they still are. And you can't tell me that the San Francisco PD didn't know where Nancy fucking... If you got the Speaker of the fucking House lives in your city, San Francisco is a lot of people in a small area. You know the address probably off the top of your head. When that comes into dispatch knows that address. These people are crooked. We've all fallen for it. I'm not falling for it ever again. I've never voted. I never will. It's an exercise in futility. It's stupid, and it dumbs you down to even think that your vote matters. It doesn't. You can say, oh, it's a sacred... It's not. It's your sacred right to be duped and fooled to get the same thing over and over again. That's why when you look at the old bastards and old bags that are in there, they've been in there for fucking decades. How does Mitch McConnell keep winning Kentucky? I know people from Kentucky. They got nothing in common with that old peanut head. How's he just stay in there? How's Pelosi staying there? How's Maxine Waters staying there? Come on. It's so crooked and such a farce. And there's such an easy solution to it. But what it takes is for you to get engaged. It takes you to open your eyes and see what's going on here. Do you give a shit what kind of world your kids grow up in? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't care. I don't know. Do you give a shit about, how your life goes? I mean, you think you're free, and you could not be further from the truth. Think about this. You have to pay the state for a driver's license. I've been driving for 30 years. I mean, why do I got to do that? If I'm hungry and I'm starving to death and I go catch a fish out of the lake and I don't have the money to go buy a conservation stamp, however much the license is now, I think it's over $50 by the time you buy the stamp and the license. If I'm starving to death and I got a piece of string and a paper clip and a worm and I'm just trying to eat, and I'm out there rubbing my two nickels together on the side of the lake just trying to, fire up some wood or whatever and, clean that fish out and eat it, and they come up and then I get a citation for that. You're not allowed to even feed yourself off the land. Now that's, there's laws of nature, right? And the law of nature is that you should be able to sustain yourself off the land. There's places where you can't collect rainwater. Places where you can't grow a garden on your own property. I mean, it's gone too far. You have to pay your registration on your vehicle every year. You've paid that vehicle. You have to pay property taxes on property that you own outright. You've paid it off. You own it. Why you paid enough taxes and interest on it to the phony bank when you bought the place? You paid taxes on the vehicle when you buy a vehicle. Guess what? The first round you pay the taxes that is on the sticker price. What? Somebody already paid that tax when they bought the goddamn thing. Now you have to pay that? And then you get to pay it every year just so you can get your shitty little license plate and put your little tag on it and drive around and not get pulled over, because all they're doing is trying to get money. That's it. Everything you do is just about them getting your money. And the price of everything goes up every year. Your insurance, what a joke. What a fucking joke insurance is. But if you don't have it, you're going to jail. Don't have your license? Oh, go get your name in the paper too, and you're getting a mugshot put on the fucking stupid website, so everybody in town can fucking wake up in the morning. All the old ladies can get up and take a look at that fucking thing, and then they can text their fucking friends and send mugshots of you all over town and talk shit and say, "Oh, gee, look at this. He didn't have a driver's license. I knew that he was no good." And then you get to sit down there in that cold ass fucking jail and get treated like a fucking worthless piece of shit. For what? Because you didn't have your certification to be driving your vehicle? I mean, why should you even have to pay for that shit? Oh, well, you got to pay your tax. What about the sales tax? 5% of everything. And this state's got a low sales tax, but 5% of everything that you spend your money on, it goes to the fucking state. Where's that money? I mean, we should have the top shelf of everything. Where's the money go? State's broke. Got nothing coming. They spend frivolous money on bullshit. Arrest you for having a plant. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Look at the legalities. The tax code, accountants don't even know how to read the tax code. It's ridiculous. They're passing 4,155-page bills in 72 hours for $1.7 trillion. And we think that's just fine. It's not fine. And if you want to be dummies, be dummies. But I'm done being a dummy. I mean, I still might be a dummy because I don't know the half of it, but I'm sure as hell trying. And it'd be nice if some of you all out there would too, because it's your choice. It always is your choice, but it's coming down to the point where it's not your choice. And you can say you're pro-choice. I would say I'm pro-choice because I don't feel like my business has anything to do with a woman's body. But guess what? When a pregnancy center where a woman wants to have the child and doesn't feel right about the abortion, when she's demonized for going to a pregnancy center where they assist with that, and she's demonized for doing that, for making a decision, that's a choice. then, she's a brainwashed scumbag, blah, 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 blah. But then you've got the other place, the Planned Parenthood, where it's just you're getting an abortion and that's that, You don't have that option there. So who's pro-choice in the matter? I think you should have each place. That's pro-choice. Is it not? When you make it so there is no choice, then that's not pro-choice, is it? It's pro-your choice. All you feminist assholes out there say that, men need to keep they don't have no business with a woman's body. Well, neither do you. A woman should have a right to make a decision one way or the other. Should they not? But yet the pregnancy centers where people are providing a service that is the other way is demonized, and they want to burn them down and picket them. And come on. This world has lost its damn mind. This country's lost its mind. But it's fixing to get real. And if you knuckleheads keep voting for these schmucks, if you keep voting in period, you're just going to get more of the same. We are all the adult children of alcoholics because we keep doing the same thing over and over. And every election, every cycle, it's all this talk from one side or the other. Oh, we're going to get them out of here and it's all going to be good. But nothing changes. Watch what these Republicans do. In 2 days, they take over the House of Representatives. They've made all these promises. Watch what they do. Watch what comes of it. Xerox. The investigations, they're going to come up for some reason. They'll have some reason for not doing it. Hunter Biden they're going to indict him on, they've already tried to get him to sign a plea deal with no jail time and he refused it. They're going to try and get him for, the gun thing, which is going to be nothing. He won't do the 60 months on that gun charge. Guarantee it. He'll get a little halfway house. And then everything on that laptop, God knows what it's on there. From what I've understood, it's not good. It's something you don't even want to see. I don't know. Haven't seen it. Never will see it. It's just like they were supposed to release all the information on JFK. Where's that at? Everybody knows what happened there. Yet they won't release it. Once they eat a certain amount of shit, it doesn't matter what the truth is because they're going to bury it because they can't. These are people that are narcissistic. They're sociopaths. They can't admit when they're wrong. They can't admit making mistakes. Look at this asshole Biden. The buck stops with me. No, it doesn't. They'll say that. And then the buck doesn't stop with them. As soon as they find a scapegoat, as soon as they find a place to point their finger, they point it and grandstand and lie and accept money from lobbyists and live crooked lives. And, they've got something waiting for them, I suppose, when it's all said and done. But like I said, choice is yours how you want to live. But get ready for the IRS because they're coming. There's 87,000 of them that you just paid for to come take your money. You just greenlit that tomfuckery. Everybody out there, you greenlit it. Especially if you voted for this jackwagon, you greenlit this tomfuckery, and you're just as culpable as he is because you're stupid. And stupidity is dangerous. I keep saying that. Nobody wants to listen to me, but stupidity is dangerous because you can't fix it. Bill Engvall said that, the redneck comedian, but there's not a truer statement out there. You can't fix stupid. Here's your fucking sign. Wear it around because that's all you got. It's really difficult to try and talk reason to a stupid person. They're irrational, and they got the mob mentality, and they just listen to what anybody has to say. They don't know how to critically think on their own. They can hardly read. They don't have a clue how the system works. They just believe whatever they see on TV and just stumble through life with their head up their ass and go punch in, punch out, and fucking die. And then stand for the flag song and, say the Pledge of Allegiance. Ain't nothing wrong with being patriotic, but this isn't patriotism. And there is not a single thing at this point in time to be proud of being an American about. If you think there is, and it's not about your granddaddy fighting in a war. Nobody's disparaging your granddaddy for his service or your service And I'm not disparaging anybody for it, but you might want to think about what it is that you're putting yourself into when you decide to enlist. And you know, as parents with young people, you might want to have a conversation with your children about, you know, whether they're going to join up or not. You know, because if they just think that it's and if you think that it is what you think it is, then I don't know. I mean, all you boomers out there, you all went through Vietnam. What started that? It was a false flag. Gulf of Tonkin. What started Iraq? All you veterans from the Middle East, when that thing started in 2003. What started that? What started the one with George Bush Sr.? That ambassador's daughter that stood there and lied about the Iraq Guard coming into hospitals and throwing babies out of incubators on the ground and letting them die? Didn't happen. Orchestrated. Lies. Everybody bought that hook, line, and sinker. I remember that night. I remember it as clear as day. Because I had plans to, I remember going home, and that was when CNN was still actually news, and I remember watching that, eating dinner, and then I had plans to go swimming. I went down to the swimming pool and met my friends, and we were in there swimming. It was a cold night, and we're in there swimming, and they had it on the radio, you know, listening to, what was it, Norman Schwarzkopf and George Bush Sr. and, you know, all the rest of them. And they kept playing that Lee Greenwood song. God. I really dislike that song. I love the country, I love the people, and I love the land, but I don't love it much else about it. I love all of you out there. I wish more of you would wake up. Maybe someday before it's too late. At some point, though, we got to understand that we're the ones that have the power. We just are too chicken shit to take it. We're too chicken shit to use it. We just think that we can't do anything. We just think that we're just, you know, everybody I talk to, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, what do you mean what are you going to do about it? Quit arguing over petty shit. Quit arguing over pronouns. Quit arguing over what bathroom somebody uses. Quit arguing over this bullshit about, you know, this political correct horse shit. Quit arguing over, you know, you're a racist, you're this, you're that, you're a beside, you know. No, just no more of it. Be human beings. Be neighbors. Be decent to people. That's all you got to do. And don't be so fucking easily offended either. You know? If somebody doesn't know what pronoun to call you, you're going to fucking live. You know? In the hate speech, if somebody's speaking badly, if somebody's saying something that's atrocious and it's that bad, then it should be pretty easy to engage in discourse with them and to prove that what they're saying is ignorant and backwards and fucked up. Should it not? Instead of stomping around like a little kid and burning down cities and shit. You know, I mean, I don't know. There are answers, but nobody wants to hear them. And if, you know, maybe I just need to be more vocal about it. Maybe that's the route it needs to go. But the thing is that no one's going to, I mean, you'll either hear it or you won't. But the work comes down on each and every one of us. We're all responsible. It doesn't matter how informed or uninformed you are. But if you're uninformed, I would give you the advice to, you know, maybe do a little bit of homework. You know, maybe take a look at what this life is. Maybe sit back and think, you know, what the hell am I doing? I spending the best years of my life punching a clock for some fucking rich asshole. I'm sitting here barely putting food on the table. Prices on everything is just getting worse day by day. I've got a fucking mumbly peg fucking president and a bunch of asshole politicians that are crooked as hell running my life. I don't know. We're not here for that long, but it's long enough not to put up with this shit. In my humble opinion, maybe you like it. Maybe y'all got Stockholm syndrome. You become friends with your captors and you think they have your best interest in mind. Well, hey, guess what? They don't give a fuck about you, me, or any of the rest of us. There's a little group of them, and you're not part of it, just like George Carlin said. So that's why I always say walk away. That's kind of that's one of the catchphrases with all my stuff, my gear and that, is walk away. I mean, that's my thought on it. We treat them like petulant little children, and you ignore them. and you just walk away. I'm not talking about violence or anything like that. What happens if we just all decide, yeah, we're not playing anymore. We're just not going to do it. Not going to, just like Dana Carvey when he played George Bush. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this here juncture. No new taxes. Yeah, no new taxes. Yeah, here they come. Here they come. They're going to be beating down your door, and you're going to have to fill out a transaction report for everything over 600 measly bucks, which buys you jack shit anymore. Buys you nothing. And it's only getting worse. And we just sit there and take it. Complacency and comfort. Well, it's getting a little uncomfortable. And it's up to you. You want to be the frog that jumps out of the boiling water, or you want to sit there and just let the heat get turned up until you're an hors d'oeuvre, until you're a fucking appetizer for, these oligarch assholes. Because that's all they look at us as. We're just appetizers. It's all about power for them, and we're a means for their ends. So there's your bright outlook for the new year. Oh, and all you New Year's resolution people, get the fuck out of here. Don't go to the gym tomorrow. If you haven't been in the gym, do not show up tomorrow, because you know what? It sucks when the fucking first week of January sucks. And I haven't been able to go to the gym because I've been living with a hernia for about the last 7 or 8 years. And my shoulders are all screwed up, and I'm trying to get myself squared away medically now. But I used to hate that, because I took the gym serious, and you'd go in there on January and you'd have so many onion heads in there. It was just, people don't know how to use the machines. They don't know how to lift. They're doing shit fucked. And then within a week or two, they're all gone. But they fuck your, don't go fuck anybody else's workout up. If you haven't got the motivation to have gone in there, if you decide that you want to change your life, if you want to change your physical stature, if you want to get in shape, then get your ass in there before January 1st. Don't get drunk tonight, or this morning, I guess it would be now, even if you're still out drinking or whatever. But don't have sat there at the bar or out with your friends getting snockered tonight and make some kind of promise about what you're going to do this year. If it's something that you were going to do, then you should have goddamn well got after it. I had people all the time that would hit me up and say, "Man, what do you do, man? How'd you It's like, dude, first of all, and then I'd say, okay, you want to get after it? Come meet me at the gym tonight. I'll be there at 7 o'clock. You know what? Every time. Oh, well, I'm going to start on the new year. It's like, if you already want to talk about this, then let's go. Get your fucking shoes on and let's go. Get your bag. Get yourself a wallet. Let's go. You want to get after it? Get after it. There's no time like right now. If you want to do something, do it. You want to do something, do it. Don't sit there and give it a date. It's just like quit smoking or anything else. Quitting chewing, quitting drinking. If you want to quit, you take the bottle or your beer or whatever and you go dump it down the drain. You take your cigarette pack and you mush it up and you throw it in the trash. That's what I did 5 years ago. And I haven't touched one since. Because I was done with it. So it's like either do it or don't, but don't talk about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. So I would encourage anybody out there that thinks you're going to go into the gym tomorrow and you're just going to go in there and you're going to fuck somebody's routine up, because you're going to go in there, you're going to not know the etiquette. You're going to leave the bench all sweaty. You're going to leave weights all over the place. You're going to be in the way. People that go to the gym every day, they got a routine. They've got their benches. Everybody knows where everybody's going to be. It's a whole thing. Like in prison, everybody knew. Every morning when we went out to the weight pile, everybody knew who had what bench, and you didn't disrespect that. Everybody had their get down, everybody had their routine, and it's the same way out here, So don't be that person. Don't be that person tomorrow. Don't go and buy yourself a membership to the rec center or to the gym or wherever and go in there and screw up somebody else's day. My advice, start out, if you want to get in shape, start doing whatever. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. If you can do 25 push-ups, get up and do 25 push-ups before you get in the shower in the morning. When you get home from work, do 25 more. Start doing burpees. Start running. And I'm not talking about fucking long distance. Go out and run wind sprints. Like, go out and run 400-yard dashes. Start lifting, get some dumbbells. Don't go in that gym and just mess somebody else's day up, because that's what I see it every time. It's so frustrating. And the people that are serious, that are in there day in and day out, you just sit there and shake your head. You're like, God damn it. These fucking Griswolds, they're going to be here for a week. They're fucking my whole week up. And it does. So don't do that. Don't be that person. Whatever your resolution is, don't start it tomorrow. You should have started it weeks ago. Because just because it's another day, it's just another day. The sun goes up, sun goes down. The only thing that you got to worry about is writing the right date on whatever papers you got to sign. Sign your life away. Make sure you put 23 on there now. But if you got some goofy resolution, and if you sat there tonight and said you're going to quit smoking, but after this pack, guess what? You're not going to quit smoking. If you said after tonight you're not drinking anymore, guess what? You're not going to quit drinking. If you said you're not going to chew Copenhagen anymore after tonight, guess what? You're not going to quit chewing Copenhagen. If you said you're going to quit eating donuts every morning, you're not going to quit eating donuts. Because if it was something that you were really convicted and convinced that you needed to do, you would have done it already. You wouldn't be sitting here waiting for one stupid day. What's the difference between today or 3 weeks or 3 months or 6 years ago or whatever? Resolutions are stupid. The only reason January 1st means a thing to me is because it's my cousin's birthday. So happy birthday, cuz. I hope you have a good day. I'm going to try and get a hold of you later. I'm going to get off of here, try and get some shut-eye. I don't think I had anything else I want to talk about. But think about that before you go and blame this kid. And like I said, he might be guilty as shit, but everybody has the right to a fair trial and to have their day in the court. And I just don't know how they're going to do it with this kid, because there's no way he's going to get a fair trial. And I think that they've got so much into this, and they don't have another option. So I think this kid's fried one way or another. He's obviously on suicide watch because he's wearing that green vest in there, and he's got his mugshot taken against a fucking wall that's got hash marks on it like a little kid. So I might have to do some homework on that police department, see what's up with that. Anyway, like I said, if the guy did it, I hope he gets what's coming to him. But I think he's going to get something coming to him regardless, and whether he deserves it or not, and I don't know. But when things seem fishy and out of whack, typically they are. And I called it. I said it was going to be an older white dude that didn't live in that town, and you know, he's not that much older, but he's 28. These kids are 20, 21, and he doesn't live in that town. If he's the one, I don't know, one way or the other. They've not said a thing about the one that I think is behind it, but that's between me and the breeze. It's not my place. So with that, fuck the resolutions. Just go do you. If you got something you need to do, just do it. You don't need a special day for it. You don't have to smoke that last cigarette. You can throw it away. If you're really serious, I'm telling you right now, if you're really serious about it, you'll crumple that pack up and you'll throw it in the trash and you won't go back to it if you're serious about it. Because if you're not, don't fool yourself and don't fool others. Until you're ready and done with it. That's where I was at with it. I was like, I'm done. This is stupid. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is retarded. I'm not doing this anymore. And in front of all the fellas at the golf course, I just crumpled. And they're like, what do you do that for? I said, I'm done, man. We'll just smoke. I said, I don't care. They're mine. I spent the $7 or whatever they cost. I'm like, they're mine. I'm done. You know? Fish them out of the trash can if you want them. I mean, they're not smoke. I mean, and that was it. I mean, if you're serious about it, then you just got to go after it. You don't need a day. You don't need a fucking invitation. What you need is the motivation, and you need to realize that that's what you got to do. Choice is yours, though. You can fool yourself. You can lie to yourself. You can lie to others. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the truth always comes out. So, one way or another. So, don't go fuck up somebody's day tomorrow at the gym, please. For somebody that's at the gym that's going to thank me for saying that. Don't do that. Don't be that person. You know, don't do it. Whatever it is that you're saying you're going to do, just go about it. You don't got to tell anybody or anything like that. Just go about it and actually do it. Don't wait for your last donut, your last can of chew, your last pack of cigarettes, your last 12-pack of beer, your last bottle of booze, whatever. Be about it. Don't talk about it. But it's up to you. You know? You can keep fooling yourself if you want. It's not my call. Anyway, with that, be good at it. In all things, be kind and do no harm. And I'm out of here. Maybe. You know, because of the thing.